Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. I have a question here I want to talk about, and that will be, how do I deal with the fact that no one loves me? How do I deal with the fact that no one loves me? These are just various questions I think I'm going to be doing some videos on just to get some conversation going. This is Love Beyond the Sea, a channel for men to investigate the possibility of finding love overseas. I found my wife in the Philippines back in 2015 when I was 53. So obviously love was on my mind a lot, trying to figure out, what it's all about, how I could possibly find myself at 53 years of age and single, no girlfriend, nothing like that. And it just seemed like there was nothing at all that I could do. And so I've had a lot of time to think about things, and I know there's a lot of people out there who are single, struggling like I was, and they have questions like, how do I deal with the fact that no one loves me? And so I just wanted to, talk about that. This is a question you'll see on Quora, and there's always some details left out, which makes it interesting to talk about. So I guess I would start out by saying, how did I deal with the fact that I couldn't get love back then? People close to you say, well, we love you, your parents love you, your friends love you, but still you're probably thinking, well, that's not what I mean. What I'm thinking about is a one-on-one personal relationship as a man to a woman, somebody to marry, as if that is the only way to receive love. And it's not. It's just that I think it's easy to go through life thinking that no one loves us when there are people that care about us deeply. It just might not be the wife. So I scratched through age 53 before I met my wife on Christian Filipina. We got married very quickly, less than 8 weeks to be exact. We've been married now closing in on 5 years, and it's kind of made me stop thinking about all those things I thought about when I was single, because I don't have to now because I am married. Makes for a much more relaxed life, I think. If you're with a good spouse, your needs are met, you feel love. Excuse me, I've been coughing for most of the last 2 years. I hope it's going to be going away soon, so I apologize for that. How do I deal with the fact that no one loves me? Well, there are people that love you. I hope that your family loves you. I hope that you have close friends that love you. If you're looking for a spouse to love you, you just have to keep plugging away. Try something different, like I did when I looked for a wife in the Philippines. Something I was totally unfamiliar with. All I knew was I had to get married. All I knew was I had the belief that married life was better than single life, and I am as much convinced of that now as I was then. Don't let people tell you that marriage is just a piece of paper, or marriage is overrated. No, it's not. It's the best thing in the world, if you can find it. The safety and the comfort you get from knowing that you do have someone that loves you, that can love you in tangible ways. Yes, that one person can hurt you more because you have such an intimate relationship with them. However, still keep looking for marriage. If you're a man, doesn't matter what your age is, if you think you're stuck where you are, watch my channel, subscribe to it, Love Beyond the Sea, learn about marriage to a Filipina. I've got hundreds of videos, I've got hundreds more, and they will be about helping to have a proper relationship with her, what works, what doesn't. I've got probably close to 60 live streams out there now. And you have to keep looking. You can't give up. How do I deal with the fact that no one loves me? Well, people say, well, God loves you. And God's love is different than the love of a friend or a spouse or your parents. There's lots of love out there. It takes more faith. If we're talking about God's love, and God's love is very real. In fact, a lot of the things I talk about in my channel, Love Beyond the Sea, come from the Bible, because God is love. He says that. He lived a life of love. The Father loved the world, so he gave his only Son, which means he poured out eternal damnation on him for you, for people, for sinners. That's an unbelievable, incredible act of love. The fact that his Son, who was also God, willingly subjected himself to that, for a church, for a bride, is love. It's just, love is loving someone that doesn't deserve it. Loving someone that deserves punishment and wrath, and loving them anyway because they don't deserve it. And that's the love that God has for us. And it's really, even of marriage, it's the best love in the world. So I certainly encourage, asking more, learning more about God's love for us. Love from people is nice, but, biblically, God made Adam and Eve. He made Adam, and less than a day later made Eve. Gave Adam a wife. Didn't ask him about it, just did it, because that's what is best for most of us, unless God gives you a unique ability to live as a single person, which means you have the gift of singleness. You don't need sex. If you need sex, you don't have the gift of singleness. You should marry. Marry sooner rather than later. So how do I deal with the fact that no one loves me? Well, there are people that probably love us in our life, and we should be grateful for that. If this question here is coming down to marriage, then as a woman, I think you have to put yourself out there, put yourself in the path where you could be found by a good man. Don't have unrealistic, impossible standards. Have high standards. Same thing if you're a man, have high standards. If you can't find somebody where you are, look overseas. It's a big world. There's a lot of women out there that are looking for just a nice guy, who isn't a wife beater, who can go to work, who has his priorities right, who isn't, selfish. You can't be married and be selfish. So if you are selfish, you're not going to be able to have a marriage, and then you'll be saying, no one loves me. Well, that probably would be because you're unlovable and you're selfish. So it helps to be able to, if you're in a shell, come out of your shell and focus on what you can do for someone else, what you bring to the relationship. Don't give up on trying to find love. This channel is about finding marital love, love beyond the sea. That's what I did, and I'd love to have more subscribers, because over time, we'll talk about things that's on your mind, things that you need to know to have a good relationship. And I've got a whole bunch of questions I'm just going to try to answer here over the coming months that deal with love. How do I deal with the fact that no one loves me? Well, if you feel that nobody ever anywhere loves you, read the Bible, read the Gospel of John, because you'll see real truth about real love. If you are a Christian, you still will want human love, and so that's what marriage is for. And after God created Adam and Eve, he said everything was very good. And it is. And the world today corrupts relationships and marriage, and has all kinds of ways to ruin that and corrupt it. But I still think marriage is the best thing going. And life is tough. that same person I said that you marry can hurt you and will hurt you the most. But you know what? You just learn to ask for forgiveness. You learn to be unselfish. You learn to be kind. You learn to have hope that things can get better. And you're in it for the long haul. If your feelings get hurt, well, so what? Who cares? Your feelings are going to get hurt when you're in marriage. And there are going to be times you're going to hurt your wife's feelings. But at least you're there together. And no marriage is perfect. So I guess my way to answer this question, how do I deal with the fact that no one loves me, is try to become a lovable person. Try to go out and meet somebody's needs. And, you may attract the right person that way. And, that's what I did. I've been focusing on being a good husband. That's what I always wanted. Just couldn't find anybody until I went to the Philippines. So try something different, and there are people that can love you even if they're not in your life right now. So just something to think about. You may have to do what I did and look for love beyond the sea.